Meantime, on the men's side, the Timberwolves got a few days off as the play-in tournament is happening this week for the NBA playoffs. The Wolves series with the Nuggets beginning Saturday in Denver. And so joining us now is Timberwolves beat writer for the Minnesota Star Tribune, Chris Hine. Chris, read your preview of this matchup this morning. Practice coming up here, some availability. I know the Wolves, you wrote, fly out to Denver Thursday to practice Friday to get used to the elevation out there, but still in town. What do you expect the mood to be like down there at Mayo Clinic Square?
Yeah, I think this is what they've been building towards this whole season. The regular season maybe didn't always go the way they wanted. They didn't finish with as high a seed as they could have or maybe should have gotten, but it's playoff time. This is what this team has gotten up for the last couple of seasons. They've made 2 consecutive runs to the Western Conference Finals. They're facing an opponent they're very familiar with, a team that they've now will be facing 3 times in the last 4 seasons. They know what's required to beat them. They know it's not going to be easy. But this week is a big one for them because they really use it to drill down on their scouting report and game plan, information, things like that you don't really have time to do in the very hectic regular season. So an important week for them, but one that they've used to their advantage in the past to get off to really good starts in the playoffs each of the last few seasons.
Yeah, you wrote about how in the previous seasons they've had binders prepared to head into the playoffs, to really study, to scout the opponent here. I mean, what is all contained in there? How much homework is a part of this?
Yeah, it's a fine line of not wanting to overload the players with too much information, but making sure they hone in on significant details about the style of play, how they want to attack Denver or defend them, but also individual tendencies for certain players about what they like to do, what certain moves they have, what are their go-to options in certain situations. So, when you're on the floor as a defender or on the offensive end of the floor, but you want to make sure that you know your opponents well, and in clutch moments or important moments of the game, you know what they're most likely to do, and that's kind of the stuff that's in those binders.
Yeah, I remember the big comeback they had 2 years ago against the Nuggets, and I remember that because I was in Iceland and I stayed up late. Well, my wife fell asleep. I was staying up late watching that game on my phone. I was thrilled that I could make that happen, and that was a pretty exciting comeback 2 years ago. So we know what drama this matchup could bring.
Yeah, it's always contested. I think they played 28 times in the last 4 years between the regular season and the playoffs, and I read a stat that it's 14-14, right down the middle when it comes to the records there. So, again, Nikola Jokic, he is capable of going for 50, 60 points against these guys. He has in the past. The Timberwolves want to turn him into a scorer, and he's willing to do that. And he can put up some of these mind-boggling numbers, these mind-boggling stat lines that only he can. It's if you're a fan of basketball, of like old school basketball, I always tell people this. If you're not a fan of the NBA or like what the NBA used to be in like the 80s or the 90s, you need to watch Nikola Jokic play basketball, because that is about as pure basketball as it gets. Whether you're a Wolves fan or not, you have to have an appreciation for the way that man plays basketball. On the Wolves side of things, watching Anthony Edwards develop into one of the clutchest players in the game, one of the most exciting, vibrant players in the game. Like, not only is it going to be great basketball, it's going to be great value entertainment-wise, these games. They're going to be hard-fought. They're going to be playing plenty of defense. And, that's ultimately what's going to decide the series, is I think which team ends up just guarding better at the end of the day.
Yeah, and speaking of Anthony Edwards, both he and Jaden McDaniels injured late in the season. The coach indicates so that they're good to go full out in practice. I mean, what's the status here? What do you expect come Saturday?
Yeah, they were managing those injuries late in the season. They got them out there to Jaden played 2 games, Ant played 1 game before the end of the regular season. Important that they got out there just to test it, reestablish a little bit of a rhythm so they can go full go this week at practice. Again, a very important week. We'll see game one just truly how ready they are, how much of a rhythm they have, or if there is still a little bit of rust that they have to knock off because the intensity of a playoff series and playing 35, maybe 40 minutes in a playoff game is a little different than playing a meaningless regular season game 20 to 25 minutes. So they're young, but we'll see just how ready they are.
Yeah. Now, the Nuggets ended the season on a 12-game win streak. So that kind of makes it a little nerve-wracking for the Wolves to go face them again. But how is it from the Denver side? I mean, are they? You think they're nervous about having to face the Wolves again too in the playoffs?
I don't think so. I think anytime you have Nikola Jokic on your team, you're feeling pretty confident. And this is a different team than the one you saw 2 years ago on the Denver side. I think Denver's probably more different of a team than the Wolves are. I mean, both teams have undergone significant changes, but Denver is a deeper team than they were 2 years ago. Some of their personnel has gotten better in areas like the Wolves used to let Aaron Gordon shoot as many threes as he wanted in that series. That's not going to be the case this time around. He's now a very good 3-point shooter. He's really worked at it. So I don't think they have really too much fear. I think there's a respect and there's a growing rivalry when you face teams that many times. But I don't think there's a fear on either side of this matchup.
How do you see this playing out? Do you see it going? Is it going to go down to the final game?
I think it could. I think it's going to go 6 or 7. I think each team's going to win at least 2 games in this series, and I definitely see it going deep. I always hesitate to make a prediction because those get thrown back in your face if you're wrong all the time.
Yeah, talk to our meteorologists about that. I mean, they know. Yeah,
that's right. But yeah, I see it being a deep series just because these teams know each other so well. I think that the Wolves are going to at least win a couple games. I think obviously the same for Denver, and it's going to go 6 or 7 in my mind.
All right. Well, enjoy your trip to Denver. And hopefully you put on some miles here in the postseason.
We shall see. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Chris Hine, beat writer for the Timberwolves with the Minnesota Star Tribune. Thanks for the time today.
Thank you.
All right.